My name is Mark Koenig, and I work here at Sage. I will be taking you through a short presentation today to give you a feel for how automating your accounting can benefit you in your small business and help you to get better business information and run your business more efficiently. I know that we have many people on the call today who either are not using an automated system at all or maybe using Excel or even a manual ledger system to prepare their financial statements and get a handle on their financial information for their business. Some of you also may simply be letting an outside accountant handle this periodically during the year or at the end of the year. And there are actually quite a few benefits to having this information at your fingertips and automated and computerized at your access at any time. So what I'm going to do is move on to the next slide here and give you a brief overview before I get into the actual Sage 50 product as to the types of things that you can expect to benefit from when you automate your accounting. First thing I have listed here is streamlining your tasks. What I'm talking about here is eliminating duplicating your efforts. With an automated accounting system, you enter your data once and you can reuse it many times. You can recur your transactions. For example, with Sage 50, you can set up recurring customer invoices and automatically bill your customers the same amount on designated dates every month or every week or however often you choose to recur that. And that in itself will enable you to save time if you are periodically writing out invoices or generating them repeatedly from an Excel spreadsheet and so forth. The next thing I have listed here is reduction of errors. When you automate your accounting system, you avoid errors and enable validation of the transactions themselves. With a manual system, you really have no built-in error checking. With Sage 50, on the other hand, you can set up built-in warnings, defaults, limits. For example, when you enter invoices that require more product than you have on hand, you can receive an alert through the system about product shortages and then even automatically create a purchase order for replacement items from a particular vendor. No duplicate transaction numbers, no orders falling through the cracks, and obviously that can make your life a lot easier. As far as staying compliant, it's not always easy, as I'm sure you all know, to remember pertinent data about your customers, such as credit terms and limits. And as all of you know, I'm sure, there sometimes seems to be no end to government regulations and required paperwork. So automating your accounting system can enable you to keep up with this much more efficiently. For example, with Sage 50, you can set up automatically enforced customer credit limits and capture data on vendors to ensure that IRS-compliant 1099 forms, for example, are produced at the end of the year. Also, automating your system enables you to know where you stand much more accurately. I know that, from being involved in several small businesses prior to working for Sage, that oftentimes you're so caught up in the day-to-day routine and making sure that everything actually gets done that you really don't have a good handle on where you stand financially unless you go through some pretty time-consuming analysis to figure that out. Now, when you have an automated system, you may be able to, right now, without an automated system, You may be able to cobble together receipts and invoices manually and come up with an approximation of your current financial situation, but it's really bound to be less than precise, excuse me, less than precise, and time-consuming as well. With Sage 50, you can stay on top of delinquent accounts, for example. You can capture sales results by salesperson so that you can evaluate the relative effectiveness of your team. And you always have the numbers at your fingertips. So if you want to run a financial statement as of today's date, or see what you've got in inventory or what orders you have in the pipeline, that information is readily available. As far as ensuring accuracy, this is a big advantage to automating the system, because when you accurately correct discrepancies and identify those discrepancies, for example, with automated bank reconciliation, you can quickly pull the information from your bank account directly into your accounting software, saving you the time-consuming and tedious process of manually reconciling your bank accounts. You can also manage cash flow and predict future outcomes. With a manual system, this is, at best, very difficult to accomplish. You can, of course, again, come up with an analysis in an Excel spreadsheet, but that again is going to be, if you don't have an automated system, that's going to be a fairly time-consuming process. On the other hand, if you automate by comparing customer invoice due dates with vendor payable dates, for example, you can plan and respond to any anticipated cash shortfalls proactively rather than being surprised when your cash balance suddenly is much lower than you expected, which of course will reduce stress and uncertainty, which is always a good thing. An automated system can also help you improve your customer service quality by providing you and your employees with up-to-date, easily accessible information on pricing, inventory levels, current billing status, and so on, which can then be conveyed to your customers quickly and accurately. And finally, automating your accounting system allows you to use the general ledger as a master scorecard for your business. You can monitor your profitability, watch your expenses, plan for future cash needs. When revenues fall short, you can control your expenses to maintain consistent profitability. And you can see your results as they happen and compare them to your budget. So everything is in one convenient place for your review. What I'd like to do now is switch over to the actual Sage 50 program, which is right here. And as you can see, this is Sage 50 Quantum, the 2013 edition, which is the current version of our product. And you can see here that the interface is quite straightforward. What I have here on my screen, if I move my mouse pointer over to the left-hand side here, you'll notice that we have this navigation panel. And on this panel, we have a series of tabs, each of which represent one of the functional areas in the software. So you have your customers and sales tab, or accounts receivable, vendors and purchases, which would be your accounts payable, inventory, payroll, and so forth. Each one of these tabs represents one of these different functional areas in the software. Now, this is why we call Sage 50 an integrated system, because unlike an enterprise-level system, which typically a much larger company would use, you don't have separate modules to buy for each of these different functions. They're all built into the one piece of software with Sage 50, which makes things very simple and straightforward. Now, what I've done initially here is I've clicked on the Customers and Sales tab. If I move just a little bit to the right, you'll notice that we have this area that looks like a flowchart diagram, which is made up of these boxes, some of which are connected by lines. If we click on the boxes, we're presented with a series of menu items, each of which will take us to a specific screen in the program, which in this case is the sales invoice screen. The lines in between the boxes simply represent the relationship between the different functions shown on the diagram. However, that does not mean in any way that you have to use every function that's shown on the screen here. There are many companies, for example, that do not use time and expense tickets or may not use quotes or sales orders or what have you. That's perfectly okay. You can click on whatever it is that you do need and go directly there without a problem. The diagram is really just a visual representation for you so that you understand how the various functions in the system are interrelated. And you'll notice that if I go back over here to the left once more and click on these various tabs, that as I click on the different tabs, that navigation diagram that I just pointed out, the configuration changes somewhat from section to section, but the basic idea is exactly the same. So that navigation area is common to every section in Sage 50. And that's how you get around in the system. So very simple, straightforward process there. Moving over to the right-hand side of the screen, again, we're in the customers and sales section of the program, so we have a list area here, and in this case, the list is a list of customers. Now, if we were in the vendors area, this would be a list of vendors. If we were in the payroll area, this would be a list of employees, and so forth. But regardless of where we are in the program, the list itself is dynamic in the sense that, like an Excel spreadsheet, you can click on any of these column headings and sort that list in either ascending or descending order by that particular column heading. Now, what I just did by clicking on the balance column was to sort my list of customers from high to low based on the amount of money that they owe me. This is their outstanding balance as of this date. And I can also click on any individual customer on the list. If I do that, I'm taken to the data entry screen for that particular customer record, which is what you see here. And this is another good example of the consistency and the ease of use that we've built into the Sage 50 program, because whether you're looking at a customer record, a vendor record, an employee, an inventory item, any type of record in Sage 50 follows the same format that you see on the screen here, which is that in the upper left-hand corner of the screen, you have an ID field which identifies that particular record in the system. Underneath that, now I forgot to mention the ID field can be any combination of up to 20 alphanumeric characters. Underneath that, you have another field labeled either name or description, and that field can be up to 39 characters. Now, the ID field is what identifies that particular record in the system. Below those two fields, you have a series of tabs, each of which contain a group of information related to that particular record type. So since we're talking about a customer record in this example, on the General tab, we have information such as the customer's billing address, their telephone numbers, fax number, email address, website if they happen to have one, what their current balance is, and you also have a series of 5 fields that we call customizable fields at the bottom of the screen here, which are simply fields that we provide to you that you can label any way you choose and use on reports and forms. The other tabs contain information regarding specific contacts. If you've set up customers, for example, that are organizations and there are multiple people there that you deal with, you can list each of those individuals as a separate contact under that one customer ID. You also have a quick reference screen for history or activity with this customer, in terms of both sales and receipts or payments that you've received over time. And again, with the Sales Info tab, you have various options here to specify a particular sales rep that's been assigned to this customer account. You can indicate a specific general ledger account you'd like to use for sales related to this customer. You can also indicate a default shipping method as well as a default price level. And price levels are associated with inventory items in Sage 50. And inventory items can be either products or services. And since many companies sell the same product or service to different types of customers at different price levels, what you can do is for each inventory item, you can set up to 10 different price levels, and you can name these price levels, by the way, anything you'd like. And then you can choose a default price level for a particular customer so that when you create a sales invoice for that customer, the system will use that particular price level by default. Now, that's just a convenience feature for you. Since it is just a default, you can always override it with whatever price you want to on the actual invoice, but that is provided as a convenience to you. And then finally, on the Payment and Credit tab, we have the credit terms listed that you are offering to this particular customer. And you have the various options that you see displayed on the screen here, including due in a certain number of days, due on a particular day of the month or at the end of the month. You can choose to offer discounts to customers that pay you within a certain number of days. You can choose whether or not you want to charge finance charges on past due balances. And you can also enter a credit limit if you choose, which will cause the system to notify you if you try to enter a sales invoice for a customer that would cause them to exceed the credit limit that you've set. It will actually pop up a message on the screen warning you of that. So what you see here is, again, the basic format for any type of record in Sage 50. Whether it's a customer, a vendor, an inventory item, an employee, you're going to be seeing the same consistent format from one record to another, and so it's very easy to get up and running with the system quickly. Now, what I'm going to do is come back to the main screen here, and what I'd like to do next is focus a little bit on a function that I mentioned earlier, which is cash flow analysis. If we click on this analysis link at the top of the screen and select Cash Flow Manager, you'll see that we have, and this is just a little informational screen here, but what we have is and I'm going to enlarge this so it's easier for you folks to see. We have an analysis tool that is very helpful when you're running a business and you have, as virtually all small businesses do, very tight cash requirements, and it's very important that you know ahead of time if you need to take out a line of credit or plan for a cash shortage. So what you've got here are three tabs: starting cash, expected incoming cash, and expected outgoing cash. You also have this time frame drop-down box, which you can use to do an analysis anywhere from 1 week out to 12 months. Now, I've selected 14 days here, or 2 weeks, just as an example, but you can choose your time period as you see fit. And you have as well some cash flow settings here where you can select what specific types of transactions you want to use in the analysis. You can also show inactive cash accounts if you want to do that. You as well have the option to use open transactions or historic transactions. You can do the analysis based on expected on the transaction due date or expected receipt date, as well as, basing this on transaction history. You have these various options that you see listed here, and so you can tailor this to your specific situation. Now, as you can see at the bottom of the page here, or this window, I should say, you have a graph showing you, in this case, every day here for the 14-day period, what your balance is, your incoming and your outgoing cash in graphical format. Now, this can be printed out and exported to Excel very easily just by clicking on this Excel button. This is another nice feature of Sage 50, is that it integrates with tools that you're already familiar with, that being Microsoft Office. And for example, if you'd like to export a report into Microsoft Excel, you simply click on the Excel button, click OK, and that will launch your Excel application and export that data into an Excel workbook for you, and you'll see that appear here in just a moment, so that you can do whatever type of data analysis you'd like to do very quickly and easily by manipulating that in Excel. And as you can see, you have various, or I should say multiple tabs here containing the different components of the analysis here, the starting cash, incoming and outgoing cash, and a summary. So Sage 50 does integrate with the Microsoft Office applications. The cash flow manager, as I say, can be a very useful tool for you. And with regard to the other applications in Microsoft Office, we also have an interface with, or an automatic linkage, I should say, with Microsoft Outlook. So if you'd like to synchronize, for example, your customer database, your vendor database, and or your employee database, and create folders in Microsoft Outlook with the names and contact information, including the email address of those individuals, you can do that very easily just by synchronizing with Excel, and you'll have those pieces of information sent over into Microsoft Outlook, and you won't have to enter that information twice, so that can save you some time as well. What I'd like to do next is put up a short poll for you folks and see if we can get some information regarding how long it takes. I just want to get a feel from the audience today, how long it takes you to prepare your month-end figures or your statements. And what I'm going to do is launch this poll, and you should see that now on your screen, and you can go ahead and click on whatever option applies to your specific situation. And once I get some responses, I will put that up and display the results. I know that many small businesses either don't do month-end reporting at all on a routine basis, or they take a significant amount of time to prepare those reports past the end of the month, simply because they don't have an automated system, and it's, you've got limited resources and other responsibilities, and that typically takes a back seat if you don't have an automated system. So what I'm going to do here is close out the poll. Looks like most of you have voted and registered your responses, and I'm going to share the results here, and it looks like, let's see, 50% of you do not produce month-end reports, which is really not surprising. As I say, many small businesses that we talk to on a daily basis are not doing this if they are not using an automated system. And, you know, it's very common for people to either just produce quarterly or even semi-annual or annual statements. It looks like about 25% of you are doing this, saying this takes a couple of hours, and the rest of you takes either a week or 1 to 2 days. So again, not surprising at all. And if I come back here to my main screen in Sage 50, excuse me, that gives me a good idea, a good feel for what you folks are experiencing, and that basically confirms what I expected. So that's, as I say, is not unusual at all. Next thing I'd like to get into here is the reporting area in Sage 50, because this is really something that's nice from the standpoint of an entry-level accounting system designed for small to medium-sized businesses, which is what Sage 50 is. It's an integrated system, but it has some really powerful reporting capabilities that are unusual for a system in this price range. And if I click on this Reports and Forms menu option at the top of the screen, you will see that this takes us into the main reporting area of Sage 50. And what I have here is a listing of the reports, which, excuse me, number about 140. These are standard reports that, and financial statements that come with Sage 50 right out of the box. And all of these reports and financial statements are grouped into these categories that you see me clicking on over here on the left-hand side of the screen. So you'll notice that, for example, these are all your inventory report, all your standard inventory reports that come with the program. These are all your standard general ledger reports. These are all your standard payroll reports, and each one of these categories has a set of standard reports listed within it. Now, every one of these reports, which is really nice for you, every one of these is customizable, able to be modified to your particular needs, and that's very easy to do. What I'm going to do to illustrate this is pull up the standard aged receivables report in Sage 50, which is exactly what you see here, and show you the types of things that you can do to very easily customize the reporting for your needs. You can see right on the screen here that I'm dragging and adjusting the column widths. By the way, anytime you see your mouse pointer change to a magnifying glass, as you see here, that indicates that you can double-click on that line item and pull up the detail that it represents, which in this case is an unpaid sales invoice. You also have these two buttons at the top of the screen labeled Options and Columns. If you click on the Options button, that gives you access to this window. And you'll notice that within this window that we have a couple of drop-down lists. This first one here allows you to run that report, and again, this is going to vary on the specific reports that you're viewing, but it allows you to run the report for various different time periods and date ranges. You will also have a drop-down box which will show you various fields. Again, depending on the specific report that you're viewing, the fields will vary, but fields on which you can sort and or summarize that report. In addition to this, you have a box labeled Select a Filter, which contains a list of fields on which you can filter that report. Now, filtering a report simply means that you're restricting it to certain selected information. For example, let's say that you wanted to see an aged receivables report, but you don't want to see every single customer in your database. You only have certain selected customers that you want to view on the report. Well, that's very easy to do. Now, by default, I should mention that the system will show you your entire customer database if you don't tell it otherwise. So in order to do that, what you would do is just click on the Options button, open this window. In the filter box, select the field on which you want to filter that report, which in this case would be the Customer ID field. And then over here on the right, you have the entire customer list displayed in this window. And I can, by clicking in these check boxes and scrolling down in this list, select only the customers that I want to see on the report. So as I do that, and I'm just picking any customers here at random for illustration purposes, once I click OK, that report is going to be restricted to those customers that I selected, which is exactly what you see here. Now, it's also very easy to add additional fields or columns to any report or financial statement, and you do that simply by clicking on this Columns button. When you do that, you get access to this window. And if you look under the column heading in this table within the window, you'll notice that there are several field names that have check marks to the left-hand side under the Show column. These are the fields that are shown or displayed on the standard version of the report up top here already. However, if you scroll down in this window, you'll note that there are quite a large number of additional fields that you have available to add to that report simply by clicking in these check boxes next to the field names. And when you do that, the field name is highlighted in blue, and you can then move that field up or down in this table, which will change the order of the columns on the report. So this column layout that you see here can be modified in any way that you choose. You can rearrange these columns as you see fit, and when you click OK, those fields will be added to the report, and you can very easily export this report, for example, to Excel just by clicking on this Excel button, as I did earlier with the cash flow report. And you'll see here in just a moment the Excel application launches again, and all of this data in the report will be sent over to Excel, including, by the way, any formulas that are necessary, so that you can do whatever type of data analysis you'd like to do here very quickly and easily. You're literally looking at Microsoft Excel 2010 here. You also have a PDF button, which will allow you to create a PDF file copy of that report. You have an email button, which what happens when you click on the email button here is that your default email program will be launched, which in my case is Microsoft Outlook, and an email message will be created with an attachment of that report or financial statement as a PDF file, which is exactly what you see here. If I double-click on this attachment, you'll see that this is the report we were just viewing in the form of a PDF document. And at this point, all I would need to do is enter the email address or multiple email addresses to which I wanted to send this, along with whatever additional information I wanted to add in the body of the message, and it makes it very easy to send that along. Now, once you have the report layout looking the way you like and you're satisfied with it, what you can then do is simply click on the Save button, give the report a name and a description, and from that point forward, that customized version of the report is going to appear in the main report listing under the name that you gave it, which is exactly what you see here. This is a custom version of the receivables report that I created a few days ago, and you can tell that that's a custom report not only by the name that I gave it, but also because it has this little blue wrench icon to the left of the title, indicating that that is, in fact, a customized report. All of the standard report formats just have this blank page next to the title of the report. And you can create, by the way, as many customized or modified versions of any of these reports and statements as you would like. You can add or delete those at will. You do not have to worry about accidentally deleting any of the standard reports because the system won't allow you to do that. But you have a tremendous degree of flexibility here in terms of reports and creating the specific layouts that you require to get the information that is most important to you. I'd like to also, if we just click out of this main reporting screen, point out that there are various different quick reporting resources that are built into Sage 50, one of which is this main dashboard. Now, this may look a little overwhelming at first, but really what this is a summary or overview of your company in a series of panels that you have displayed all on one page here. So it's really something that can be very useful from the standpoint that if you click on this Customize button, you'll notice that we have quite a long list here on the left-hand side in the Setup window of 46 different items, each of which is essentially a miniature report showing you everything from vendor information to customer information, revenues, expenses, quotations, inventory item information, all kinds of information as far as banking tasks, change orders, job information. And you can choose from any or all of these items to add to this dashboard panel, and you can choose the order in which these items appear. So that's what I'm doing here, is by moving up or down in this table, that will change the order of the panels on the screen. And the other nice thing about this is that each one of your users in Sage 50 can create their own individualized tabs on the dashboard, each of which contains different panels or different groups of information. So you may have one user that has 5 or 6 or 8 different tabs set up, depending on what they happen to be doing that particular day or that particular time of the week or the month. And when they log into Sage 50 with their username and their password, they're only going to see on the dashboard the tabs that pertain to them and that they've created. They won't see anyone else's tabs. So it's customizable by user, which is nice as well. Also, within each one of these functional areas that I pointed out earlier, you have a management tab. For example, in the customers and sales area, you have this customer management tab, which will show you, this is basically a dashboard just for customer information. So if I select one of my customers from the list, I have a series of panels here, and note that I can select any time period that I want to view for any of these panels. And I have a variety of information very easily accessible here without having to run individual reports. You can see I have sales invoices that pertain to this customer, receipts, sales orders, credit memos, and again, I can customize this by clicking on the Customize button and choosing from any or all of these panels that are available on the left-hand side. And I can also organize these in whatever fashion I wish, and each user can customize this to their liking as well. You have the same functionality in the vendors area. You have this vendor management tab, which works exactly the same way. You select, except that you're selecting a vendor instead of a customer. And you get a series of panels showing you information about that vendor. Same thing in inventory, and same thing with jobs. If you've set up jobs in Sage 50, you can select any of those jobs and view a series of panels giving you information about that particular job. Again, this is very handy, especially if you happen to be on the phone with a customer and you need quick access to information, or maybe the customers come into the office or the store and you need to quickly access this without having to run multiple reports. you can just pull up one of these dashboard tabs and have instant access to that information. So that gives you a flavor for the reporting functionality in Sage 50. I'd like to go into next the inventory area because this is another area that is really, from the standpoint of an entry-level integrated accounting system, it's quite exceptional, the level of functionality that we give you, especially for this price point. I mean, this is an exceptional value, and I can tell you, being aware of what else is out there in this market space, that Sage 50 gives you a lot of inventory capability, which you're not typically going to see with a product in this price category. This is the main inventory area of Sage 50. When you pull up any of these inventory items in the list here, and I'm going to, again, enlarge this so that it's easier for you to see, you have the ability, for example, to have, as I mentioned earlier, up to 10 different selling price levels for each item. You also have the ability to create quantity discounts in the system where you can, based on the quantity that a customer is purchasing, offer a percentage, a discount percentage, or a dollar amount discount for up to 5 different quantity price break points, and you can apply those to any or all of the 10 different pricing levels, so you can get very detailed with that. You also have a choice of costing methods. This is another thing that many other products in this price range do not offer. You have the ability here, and this is, I just pulled up the new inventory item screen. You have the ability to choose from first in, first out, last in, first out, average costing, or specific unit costing, which is used only for serialized inventory, which is inventory items that have a serial number associated with them. And that's another unusual feature and very useful feature for many businesses that typically is not available in an integrated system such as this, certainly not at in this price range. In addition to that, you have the ability to have a stocking unit of measure for that item, and you can enter up to 2 additional multiples of that stocking unit of measure. In this case, I've got a bottle as the stocking unit of measure, and I have a case of 12 bottles and a pallet of 36 cases that I have designated here. And once you've done that, you can do this again for each inventory item individually, depending on what the quantity, the stocking unit of measure is, and the quantities in which you buy and or sell that item, and then use those different multiples of the stocking unit on purchase orders and sales orders. So make that very convenient for you as well. You also have the ability to specify a preferred vendor. So if you choose to create automatic purchase orders for an item when it gets below a certain minimum stocking level, which you can specify right here, you can have the system create automatically a purchase order for the vendor that you specify for that particular item, and that will be generated automatically for you by the system. So again, nice detail and really unusual level of functionality for an entry-level small to medium-sized software integrated accounting software system that is integrated in nature. I've got one more poll I'd like to launch and get a little more information from you folks, and I'm wondering, what I'm going to put up on the screen here in just a second is a list of services, which we call Sage Connected Services, which are essentially auxiliary services that interface with Sage 50. And let me just launch this now so you can see the various choices. You'll notice that we have a variety of different services available, from payroll processing, credit card payment service, direct deposit, online backup, and online bill pay. What these are subscription services which interface directly with Sage 50. And the nice thing about that is that it doesn't change. When you subscribe to any or all of these services, they do not change in any way the manner in which Sage 50 operates. So if you're already doing payroll or you're already accepting credit card payments and you're entering them manually in the system, the only thing that changes if you subscribe to one of these connected services is that you have the same screen, but you'll have a button you can press to log into, for example, on credit card, accepting credit card payments. It'll log you into a secure website where you can type in that credit card number and get an approval code, which will just feed right into the system. So let me just close that poll. It looks like everybody, almost everybody on the call is interested in the credit card payment service, and the direct deposit looks like for pay, employee pay looks like the next most popular service. And again, that's not surprising either. That's pretty typical. We just quickly share the results there, and then go back to this main screen. What I'm referring to when I say that nothing changes when you subscribe to one of these services, other than it makes your life easier because it automates a part of the process. Let me give you an example. This is the receipt screen that you would come to if you were manually entering a payment that you received on an invoice for a customer. And in this case, I just pulled up this particular customer, Aldred, and they have these two invoices outstanding. Now, if I receive a payment for this first invoice, I just click in the payment box if they sent me a full payment. If they sent me a partial payment, I can just type in the amount that they sent me here. And that's going to register in the system. Now, if I was manually taking a credit card, I could click on this record button, and it gives me a, oops, let me put in a reference number here, gives me a screen where I can record the information in the authorization code after I've run that through my card swiper or however I'm doing that. If you subscribe to our automatic service, however, you just click on the process button. It takes you directly to an automated or encrypted, rather, website on the internet, and the whole process is done electronically over the web, and that information is secure. It does conform to PCI, the credit card standard security guidelines, so that you will be in compliance with that, and it just feeds right into the Sage 50 program so that the information and the approval code is registered and you're done. So these services are very nice. Payroll is another example. If you're using our direct deposit service, for example, when you go to actually pay your employees, and the way that that's done is to, for example, enter payroll for multiple employees. If I click here, what this is going to do is generate a payroll check for each of the employees that I've set up in the system. And that's what you see here. I can view any of these individually. And I can also print a report showing me the withholding amounts for each of my employees, or I can click on the print button and actually print those checks. Now, if you subscribe to the direct deposit service, rather than when you click print here, rather than printing out a physical check, it's going to log into another secure site, transmit that information to your bank, and then make those direct deposit amounts into your employee accounts. And again, it doesn't change the basic operation of the program. It just makes things easier for you. So that's a pretty high-level overview of the Sage 50 program and the types of things that it can do for you in terms of making your life easier and alleviating some of the more time-consuming and tedious tasks that you're certainly doing if you have a manual system, probably much more frequently than you would like. So I'd like to open things up here just for a few minutes. I've got a couple minutes left to questions and answers. And if you would, on the GoToMeeting control panel there, GoToWebinar control panel, there is a questions section. And if you type in the questions and hit enter, I'll be able to see it on my end. And I'd be more than happy to address whatever questions you folks have. Looks like we're getting a question from Liz. What are your technical support options? Well, Liz, I'm glad you asked that question because that's something I forgot to mention. Our technical support here at Sage is, number one, I should mention it's all located here in this building in Lawrenceville, Georgia. We don't outsource any of our tech support folks overseas, in contrast to many other software companies, as you probably know if you've called and you've been connected with someone in the Philippines or India or overseas somewhere. Those are probably the two most common locations. But oftentimes these folks are contract employees and they're reading from a script and they're not particularly familiar with the product. You won't have that problem with Sage 50 because, as I say, all our folks are right here. They're extremely well trained on the product, very familiar with it. Many of our folks have been here for, 10, 15 years, and they've seen just about every issue that comes up. So those folks are available from 8:30 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Friday, and they are available for you to call as much as you need if you have a support contract with us. So there's no limit on the number of times you can call. They'll be more than happy to walk you through any questions that you have. And with your permission, actually, they can actually log into your machine over the internet and show you how to do things. So, and that's not just limited to technical issues. If you have questions of a basic nature just on how to use the program, how to enter an invoice, how to receive a payment, how to enter your payroll, anything like that, they'll be more than happy to assist you with. So that's one option. You also have that annual plan, which is unlimited, as part of our business care plan, which your account manager will be more than happy to go over with you in detail. We also offer a monthly and a pay-per-call option if you don't think that you're going to have much need for tech support and you'd like to use a more cost-effective option. So that's what we have with regard to tech support, and we're actually quite proud of our tech support record. We consistently rank at the top of the pack as far as customer service level with our tech support. I'm getting another question here from, looks like Jonathan. What are your training options? Another good question, Jonathan. Thanks for that. We have a series of different options here, one of which is an online comprehensive training series of videos through our Sage University website. And what those are a series of video tutorials which take you through over 75 different areas of the program and show you in detail how those functions operate, and even gives you practice opportunities and a quiz at the end to test your knowledge. Very straightforward, easy to understand, and each one of those tutorial videos is, I would say, maybe 10 to 15 minutes in length maximum, and they really give you a good overview of the product. We also offer self-study guides as part of the business care plan, which again your account manager will be more than happy to go over with you. We have obviously the technical support option, which I mentioned a moment ago, for how-to questions. And we also have a network of Sage 50 certified consultants that are located all across the country in virtually every state of the union. And they have, these are independent consultants who charge their own fees, but they will come out to your location and do classroom-style on-site training for you if you prefer that. And we can refer you to someone who is local to you. Those consultants are also listed on our website. Looks like I am just about out of time here, and I do want to point out that I'm sure folks have many more questions, and if I move over here to the contact information here at Sage, this is where you can get additional information. We encourage you folks to call, and please don't hesitate to, when you talk to an account manager, which is who you're going to be connected with, to let them know that you attended today's online demo and you'd like to get some more information. I'd be more than happy. I do this on a daily basis. I set up 1-hour demonstration time slots for individual customers where we can spend a full hour together one-on-one and discuss your specific needs. And that is something that we provide as a service free of charge to you, and we'd be more than happy to set that up. As I say, I do that every day of the week, and we have many slots open for your convenience, and we can set that up for you. You can call this 800 number, and you will get connected and with our account manager, and you can set that up. So in closing, I'd just like to thank everyone for attending today. It's been a pleasure. We very much appreciate your interest in Sage and hope to earn your business. So I look forward to talking to you soon, and you have a great day. Thank you.